What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. I haven't really done any videos besides from clips with my voice in a long time, but if you do remember, about 5 months ago at the beginning of February, or not February, what the heck am I saying, beginning of September, we did an NFL prediction video. Click the I button to check that out. And now today, as you can see by the title, we are reacting to my NFL predictions. We're going to see how this goes. Some of these things I actually got spot on, and then some things I kind of got completely off. So, let's start with the regular season standings. So you can see right here on the screen, it's the exact same things I did as I recorded for my NFL predictions video, and you can see the standings right now on your screen. So if we look at what I said, let's start with the AFC here. In the AFC North, let's start with that. I definitely was wrong here by a lot. I predicted this division to be one of the worst in the league, with the Ravens dominating at 12-4, and then I had the Steelers at 6-10, the Bengals and Browns at 5-11. If we actually look at what happened, the Steelers topped it, who were going 12-4. So I was off by the Steelers with a lot. And then we look at the Bengals and Browns and Ravens. Ravens went 11-5, so I was pretty close there, but they got second in division. The Browns, I flipped the rating. I said they would be 5-11, they were 11-5. To be fair, I don't like the Browns as much. And then the Bengals, I was actually pretty close. They went 4-11-1. I got 5-11. It's pretty close. Now, if we look over here in the AFC East, I had the Bills topping this division, and that was right, except they went 13-3. I knew they're going to be a good team this year, especially Josh Allen. I knew he was going to have a good future, but I did not expect that good of a team. Now, the Patriots and the Dolphins, I kind of switched up. I said the Patriots would go 9-7 and make the playoffs as a wild card, whereas the Dolphins would go 7-9. But the Patriots were the ones that went 7-9, and the Dolphins actually went 10-6, and they still missed out on the playoffs. And then the New York Jets, I knew they were going to be bad. 3-13, they were 2-14, so I got that pretty much right. AFC South is a bit iffy here. Actually, very iffy. Maybe not as bad as AFC North, but it's pretty bad. I had the Texans on top here at 12-4. The Texans went 4-12. I flipped their rating. Or not rating. I flipped their record. And then Titans and Colts. I predicted them to be both 8-8, and somehow I predicted an 8-8 team to make it to the playoffs when a 10-6 team, the Dolphins, didn't even make it. So I must have predicted a close AFC. But either way, the Colts went 11-5 and made the playoffs. So I got that right. They were second in division. But let's put the Titans here up top, who really got 11-5 and won the division. Jaguars, I knew they were going to be not that great. 5-11, okay, that makes sense. They went 1-15 and got the number 1 seed. And they probably are going to go for Trevor Lawrence, but we'll see. So, not too bad so far. I mean, I'd say pretty bad division here. Mostly accurate here. Bad division. Let's look how I did in the AFC West. So the AFC West, the Chiefs. Spot on. Number 1 seed, I said. They got it. Topping their division, 14-2. That's exactly what happened. That's exactly what I said. So look at the rest of the division. Oakland Raiders, I predicted to make the playoffs and get second. In real life, they got second, but they missed out on the playoffs. It's going 8-8. And then the Chargers, I said they'd go 6-10. They went 7-9, so pretty close there. And the Broncos actually predicted to be the worst team in this conference. In fact, the Broncos, I think, were the 5th worst team in this conference. They were the bottom of their division at 5-11. So pretty much, this AFC West, I got spot on with the Chiefs, and I was pretty close with the other 3 teams, so I'm pretty happy about that. If we're looking at the AFC, like for who's making the playoffs and things, I got the Chiefs right making the playoffs, and I got the Bills right making the playoffs as divisional winners. I got the Colts right, making it as a wild card, and I got the Ravens right, except I said they would be a division winner as they were a wild card. Things I did miss is the Patriots did not make it, and the Raiders did not make it, along with the Texans. You got to switch the Texans to the Titans, and then the Raiders and Patriots can be flip-flopped and give it to the Steelers, who won the division, and the Browns, who made it as a wild card. Now let's look at the NFC North and the NFC East, South, and West. Starting with the North, where my Packers are, my favorite team. You know, I was trying to be realistic as possible. I'd love for them to go 6-0. I'd predict that. I said 11-5. Hey, they did better than my expectations. But they won the division. They ruled the NFC North. I don't want to hear it. They do it. Now, the rest of the division, I kind of I flip-flopped really the Vikings and the Bears. I said the Vikings would go 9-7, with the Bears going 4-12, and the Lions went 5-11. So the Lions did go 5-11, but they actually were at the bottom of the division. So I actually got that one right, just not the placement. Vikings did worse than I thought, which I'm very happy about. They went 7-9, and the Bears made the playoffs, actually going 8-8. So as I was saying in the AFC, I would think an 8-8 team would make the playoffs with that expanded wild card, but it's going to be the NFC where you see that. Now, with the NFC East, well, no one expected them to be this bad. The football team went 7-9 and won the division. I would never guess that. I always make sure my division winners usually have at least 10 wins. That's usually how it goes. Never would have guessed that. Now, after that, the Giants and the Cowboys, I both had at 6-10. The Giants are pretty close. They're slightly better than that. The Cowboys, I will say this, they probably would have went 9-7 or something like that if they had Dak Prescott. And then the Eagles, I said 4-11-1, or sorry, I said 11-5 in winning their division, and they were 4-11-1. I got completely wrong there. I can't believe the Eagles won the Super Bowl just like 2 years back. Now, NFC South, not too bad to be fair here. I got the exact position right, Saints, Buccaneers, Panthers, Falcons. Only thing is the records. I said the Saints would be 10-6 with the Buccaneers being 10-6. They're both a bit better. The Saints were 12-4 and the Buccaneers were 11-5. Whereas with the Panthers, they are worse at 5-11, and the Falcons were at 4-12. So, that was a pretty good division for my predictions. Now, the NFC West is the last one. This was looking like one of the strongest divisions in the league, and then they kind of slipped off at the end. But getting Seahawks as the division winner, I did get right. Except I did say they would be 13-3. They were 12-4. Now, this is where kind of things go wrong. I said the 49ers would make it, obviously. They probably would have made the playoffs or been close to it if they had their full team. Yeah, they probably definitely would have made the playoffs and maybe even put in a chance for, like, the division if they had their full team and were all healthy. And so that's why I said they would be 12-4 and a strong wild card. But instead, they were bottom of the division at 6-10. Now, we got the Rams and the Cardinals. I got the Rams right. Or sorry, I did not get the Rams right. I did not get any of them right. I said the Cardinals will go 6-10. They did better with Kyler Murray. He really showed himself, but they kind of flopped at the end of the season as they finished 8-8, missing out on the playoffs. The Rams went 10-6. I said they'd go 8-8, so they did better than I thought, and they made the playoffs. So overall, here in the NFC, I did decent in this division. I did pretty good in this one. I failed the NFC East, but really, who would have projected a division to be that bad? And I did pretty decent in the NFC North. When it comes to predicting who would make the playoff, I got spot on that the Saints and Buccaneers would make it. I got spot on the Seahawks would make it, but I did say the 49ers would make it. Instead, put the Rams in there. From this division, I got completely wrong. The football team made it, and the Eagles and Cowboys did not. Here, I did predict the Packers to make it. I always do. Of course, I will. And I did not expect the Bears to make it. And I even predicted the Bears to be the worst team in the conference, even though that ended up being the 4-12 Falcons. So really, the worst teams are really in this conference this year. Now, one thing I did say in the AFC is that I got the number 1 seed right, which is the Chiefs. Nope, the Packers got it, and I'm happy. I always like when the Packers do better in my predictions, because obviously I'm not going to say, oh, the Packers are going to win it all or something like that. I would love to say that every year, but that's not realistic. Now let's move down to the playoffs part of this. So here you have it. Here I set up the playoffs and things like that based on, my seeds and things. So if we see here, the wild card round, this is how it's going to be set up. Obviously, it's going to be different than real life. Let's kind of see what happens here. I had the Texans, who I completely messed up, Ravens, and Bills, and I got the Packers, Buccaneers, 49ers. So to be fair, some of these are actually pretty accurate, whereas some are not. If you look on the AFC side of things, Texans, no. That is just completely wrong. Let's forget about that. The Ravens, though, is something right that I got. The Colts, Raiders, and Patriots, Raiders and Patriots did not make it. Colts did make it and lose in the first round, which I did get right. Ravens and Bills I like, because I both predicted them to make the divisional round, and they both did in real life, eventually playing each other. Texans, let's just forget about that. If we kind of swap the Texans and the Browns, then this AFC picture more looks like the real life. Because as we know, in real life, it was definitely completely different in the wild card, as the Bills played the Colts and beat them, and then the Ravens beat the Titans, and the Browns beat the Steelers in a dominant fashion. Now, in the divisional round, this is where I did some upsets. I had the Bills versus Chiefs and Ravens at Texans. And in real life, it was the Browns and Chiefs and the Ravens and Bills. So I actually had 3 of the 4 teams right here. Just get rid of the Texans and swap the Browns, as I was saying. matchups were a bit different. I had the Bills and Chiefs, and the Ravens and Texans. It was really Ravens, Bills, and Browns and the Chiefs. I keep repeating myself. I did have both of the away teams winning in this one, the Bills and the Ravens, whereas in real life, the Bills did make it to the conference championship. I got that right, but the Chiefs made it instead of the Ravens. So I did actually pretty well in the Bills prediction. And the conference championship obviously was between the Bills and the Chiefs won that pretty comfortably at a 38-24 win, and the Chiefs would make a Super Bowl. So overall in the AFC, it's pretty accurate, especially with teams like the Bills and the Ravens. Chiefs, I did predict to get upset. I just didn't think they would repeat. I mean, they didn't repeat, but I didn't expect them to repeat to the Super Bowl. This was going to be Lamar Jackson's year, but after all, he did prove doubters wrong that he just won one playoff game. Now let's look at the NFC here. So based on what I said in the regular season, this is going to be the matchups. I had the Cowboys at Packers, Buccaneers at Eagles, 49ers at Saints. In real life, definitely is going to be different. It was the Rams at Seahawks as one of them, and then the Buccaneers at Washington and Bears at Saints. So the Saints were hosting a wild card, just like I predicted, except the 49ers won. And you have to remember, if the 49ers did not get injured, things would have changed, and these predictions could be a bit more accurate. But yeah. 49ers I chose them to win. Now this is pretty accurate. Buccaneers 6 seed, that's what I projected, and for them to win the wild card. Obviously in real life it was against a football team. Here it's against the Eagles, so the same division, NFC East, and I predicted them to win. Tom Brady, I knew they was going to probably win at least one playoff game this year. Said he won the Super Bowl. Okay, Cowboys at Packers. Well, in real life this matchup was really the Rams at Seahawks, you can kind of say, so that's kind of a bit off. Now, I did predict the Seahawks to be the #1 seed, so in the divisional round, we have the Buccaneers at Seahawks, 49ers at Packers. Obviously, in real life, it was the Buccaneers at Saints, so basically replace the Seahawks and the Saints, and then the 49ers and Packers, it was really the Rams and Packers. So in real life, the Buccaneers and the Packers advanced. I did project the Buccaneers to win. Now in my prediction video, I said that the Packers would win, and I said the Packers would win it all. But then at the end of the video, I gave you a reason for how the Packers could not win it all, just to give you an unbiased opinion. And I was saying how the Packers would probably lose to the 49ers, just like last year. So that's why I have the 49ers. But really, I predicted the Packers to beat the 49ers and play the Buccaneers. So technically, I actually got the NFC right. It's just I wanted to show, okay, if there's a place that the 49ers or the Packers would get eliminated, it would be here. But then the Buccaneers and 49ers, I really had the Buccaneers and the Packers going to the Super Bowl. But as we know, the Buccaneers ended up going to the Super Bowl against the Chiefs, and that is where Tom Brady got his 7th ring. Yeah, so you know what, overall, it wasn't too bad. I don't think it was too bad. I'd say in here, I probably had like 3 good divisions I did well in. I'd say about 2 or 3 that I did okay in, and maybe 2 that I failed in, like the NFC East and the AFC South. And then the playoffs-wise, it wasn't too bad either. It could have been better, but like some predictions, like the Bills doing really well, or the Packers or the Buccaneers especially, I did was pretty accurate in. But then there's some teams like the 49ers, that wasn't even close. Injuries completely hurt them, but I don't know. In real life, even this year, probably would have made the Super Bowl even if they had their players back. And the Patriots making the playoffs, that was just a crazy thing. Now let's look at some awards that I was talking about before. So if we go down here, I had a few things. I obviously had a Packers category because, you know, I support the Packers and things like that. So we got a category for like the league stuff, and then we got a category for the Packers. And to be fair, some of these things are pretty accurate, especially for the Packers. I'm just saying. The year awards, we'll go through them, and I'll show you what I saw. So I said MVP would be Russell Wilson. As I was saying, the Seahawks are going to get the #1 seed, go 13-3, and stumble in the divisional round against Brady. And MVP Russell Wilson, he was probably the front runner for the first 5 weeks of the season, and then Mahomes and Rodgers crept in there, and he was still with them, but then he probably slipped off around the 9th week of the season or something like that. So in the end, Aaron Rodgers won the MVP. I'm very happy for them. Just the 6th player to have 3 MVPs to his name. But honestly, if we're talking the first half of the season, this is actually kind of accurate, the MVP for Russell Wilson. If we just took the first half of the season, it was a 3-way tie, in my opinion, between Wilson, Mahomes, and Rodgers. But this really wasn't too bad of a choice for MVP. He can't get it right every year. I would always love to say Packers players for every single category. And in my mind, I would probably have said MVP Aaron Rodgers, but I'm not going to say something like that because of, the bias. Now, offensive player and defensive player of the year, one's a hit, one's a miss. So defensive player of the year, let's start with that. Aaron Donald, I got it right. He's a beast. He knows what he's doing. He's on the #1 defense this year, the Rams. Yeah, he was amazing, and I knew he was going to be amazing, so I put him there. Now, offensive player of the year, I had Christian McCaffrey. Well, offensive player of the year was definitely not Christian McCaffrey. It was Derrick Henry, 2,000-plus rushing yards, 2,027, I believe, to be exact, and helped the Titans make the playoffs. Unfortunately, they did not win. I was very upset because I actually do like the Titans and really like Derrick Henry. And I do think that Derrick Henry was probably the second best player in the league after Rodgers this year, even though they tend to give more credit to quarterbacks. So that's why he wasn't even in top 3 for the MVP. But offensive player of the year, Christian McCaffrey. I think he got hurt week 1 or was it week 2? And that sidelined him all the way to like week 8. And then I think he came back for a bit, and then he got hurt again, and that sidelined him all the way to like week 14 and 15, and that's when the Panthers were eliminated, so they just rested. And it was kind of a really bad year for Christian McCaffrey, and offensive player of the year was Derrick Henry. I got that one wrong, but if Christian McCaffrey wasn't hurt, I still think that Derrick Henry with 2,000 yards would win it, but Christian McCaffrey definitely would have put up his case to probably do well. So Rookie of the Year and Coach of the Year. Okay, so Rookie of the Year is kind of hard because you don't know anything about rookies. You don't know how they're going to do. I thought Henry Ruggs III was going to do well for the Raiders. He didn't do terrible, but he wasn't get targeted that much. He didn't really, I guess, he probably could have done better as a first rounder, I'll say that. He was kind of disappointing for maybe what the Raiders were expecting. I did have the Raiders making the playoffs, which is another reason why. But let's actually talk about what happened in real life with the Rookie of the Year. So Rookie of the Year was really between, there's Justin Herbert and there was Justin Jefferson. And in the end, Herbert ended up winning. I mean, he really did well. He took over, I think, midway through the season, or even slightly before that, because of the injured Tyrod Taylor, and he did really well, actually. And Justin Jefferson also did really well, especially when Thielen was slightly hurt, the miss of Stephon Diggs as he went to the Bills. That was a big thing. So Rookie of the Year, I was very off on. I would have never really thought Herbert or Jefferson would have done as well as they did. Especially that Herbert was not going to be named the starter immediately. You wouldn't think someone like him, not named the starter at the beginning of the season, would have a chance to win Rookie of the Year. Coach of the Year, I was pretty close on. So Coach of the Year was Kevin Stefanski for the Cleveland Browns. I had Sean McDermott for the Bills because I knew the Bills were going to do really well this year, and I was very right in the Bills going all the way to conference championship. The difference is that I think Sean McDermott probably would have won it if there wasn't a Kevin Stefanski. I think he was the number 2. But in the end, I think I was pretty close on this one. Never would have thought the Browns were going to do well, especially saying they were going to be 5-11. So yeah, that's why I had Sean McDermott. I was pretty close there. So overall, with the league awards, I was kind of close with the MVP. I'd probably say in the end of the season, Russell Wilson probably dropped to around like the 8th or 7th guy for MVP after like Mahomes, Brady, Henry, Rodgers, Allen, and maybe a couple few others like Donald. Offensive Player of the Year, I was definitely wrong because of that injury to McCaffrey, but even if he was back, probably Henry would have done better. Defensive Player of the Year, I was spot on. Rookie of the Year, it's kind of hard to guess, and I was completely wrong. Coach of the Year, I was pretty close on. So for the Packers, this is where I really think I was completely right. Just about every single thing for the Packers. So MVP, Aaron Rodgers, if he gets MVP for the league, he's definitely going to get it for the Packers. Spot on. Offensive Player of the Year, Davante Adams, if he's going to have, his season of 1,800 yards and 18 touchdowns in just 13 and a half games? That's insane. So, obviously, Rodgers would probably be the Offensive Player of the Year, but since he can't get MVP, which I explained in my original predictions video, if Rodgers cannot get MVP, or if he does get MVP, then he cannot get the Offensive Player of the Year, so that's why I gave it to Adams. Defensive Player of the Year, this is probably right as well, Jair Alexander. Lockdown corner, no one throws to him. He doesn't get many picks because he's almost like Richard Sherman. No one ever threw his way because he was too good. That guy allowed negative yards against the Rams in the playoffs. He was insane. Lockdown corner #1 in the league, in my opinion. Better than Jalen Ramsey and Xavier Howard. Rookie of the Year, this is interesting. Probably maybe the only one I got wrong, but A.J. Dillon. To be fair, our rookies this year weren't that great. Jordan Love obviously being benched. So really, I remember saying this in my prediction video, there wasn't going to really be a standout rookie this year. With, out of the 6 or 7 people we drafted in the draft, 3 of them or 4 of them were like really on the bench this year, didn't really play, and so I was like, well, AJ Dillon as a running back might get some reps. So honestly, looking at the Packers, AJ Dillon's probably that rookie of the year. So I honestly think I actually am right here. Comeback player, I had this. So I didn't think anyone was gonna come back from like a big injury or come back from a terrible season and do really well. And so I said Aaron Rodgers mainly because I had him to be the MVP for the Packers and lead this team to great things this season, as I thought they would, and he definitely did. And so I had him come back player of the year because the last year he threw 26 touchdowns only and 4 picks or something like that. And the year before in I think a shortened season for like how much games he played, 25 touchdowns and 2 picks. So it wasn't really that much. And this year he exploded with 48 touchdowns. I didn't think he was going to get this much. I thought he was going to get high 30s, low 40s, but definitely this. So overall, looking at these predictions here, I think I got every single one right. But tell me guys in the comments what you guys did for your predictions, how you did. How do you think I did my predictions? What do you think I got most wrong? What do you think I got the most right? Honestly, for coming the most right, I think something like the Chiefs, the Bills in the playoffs, and then something like Aaron Donald, Sean McDermott, and all of this. When it comes to what I got the most wrong, probably something like Henry Ruggs for sure, the 49ers, Patriots, the Browns, something like that. But tell me what you guys think. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'm going to start doing maybe more sports videos for major predictions and things like that. And I'm definitely at the end of the Premier League season. We'll look at what I did for that. Next NFL video is probably not going to be until August when we do predictions. But hope you guys enjoyed. Subscribe, play the content, like the video if you liked it because that is what it's for. And I'll see you guys on that next video. Bye-bye. Brady must have sold his 2 mansions because he paid too much to the refs.